Aloha, you're watching F5 On Demand. I'm Peter Silva, Technical Marketing Manager with F5, and we're here in Manhattan for F5's 2012 North American Agility Conference. It's the opening night reception. We're here in the Expo Hall where a number of partners are able to show how their technology integrates with the F5 solutions. And I have a longtime partner, Will Hayes with Splunk. He's the Director of Business Development. Thanks for joining us again, Will.
Thanks for having me again.
So for those of our audience who might not know about Splunk, can you tell us a little bit about what Splunk does?
Sure. So Splunk is a data engine at its purest form. We aggregate data from what we call machine data, anything that's the exhaust out of your servers, your applications, your devices. We take that data, we aggregate it, and then we make that data available for different consumers. So if you look at the F5 suite of products alone, you guys are generating data from ASM and PSM, from the security products. We've got the load balancers, obviously, all that great information that you can get out of iRules and iApps, some of the new features like data center firewall. Well, all that information needs to go somewhere, and Splunk is the place to aggregate all that information, and then of course that information is going to be consumed by different consumers. So in the case of security, we're looking at security and compliance reporting, investigations. For your LTM and availability, we can start to look at environmental health, user experience. When you start getting into ARX and some of these other technologies, there's a whole set of use cases that revolve from operations to security, even business intelligence in some cases.
And in a lot of ways, with our big IP solutions, we talk about gathering context, gathering those pieces of information to then make that intelligent decision on how best to deliver the content to the end user. And in a lot of ways, you're gathering those pieces of information too.
This is why it's been such a great partnership for so long. The really unique thing about F5 is the amount, like you said, context. We see it as data, right? The iRule provides this facility to inject a lot of meaningful information into that data. Splunk has the capability then to allow you to really analyze that. So when you're starting to look at round trip times and latency and health and performance, in addition to that, we get all this context out of the F5, we can now stitch that back into other sources of data, right? So why do you invest all this money in best of breed like F5? Well, it's because you're trying to deliver some kind of application or some kind of service, so it's important to be able to actually get aggregated views from a single pane of glass. What is the impact of this health on the number of sales that I did today? Where is this outage affecting us in different parts of the world, for instance? So having that extra data inside of Splunk along with the context that F5 provides is very powerful from an informational awareness standpoint.
And a couple of months ago at RSA, we announced the Splunk application for our data center firewall solution. And I understand over the last couple of months, you've built a number of enhancements into that application, haven't you?
We have gone far and wide, lots of help from your team, but there are some very cool reports. In fact, we have some that we're showing here today all around the different aspects of firewall traffic. As you guys know, there's some very exciting things that you're able to do in the world of sort of big attacks, right? When we're looking at lots of addresses and denial of service, we're providing visibility back into that, translating that into things like geo and availability. So it really is just helping us complete this picture of kind of total information awareness around the network. And again, you guys sit at such a strategic point in the network. Everything is passing through an F5, so we want to get that data and make that data valuable to our users.
So I understand you got a demo to show us. Can we take a look?
We do. Let's take a look at the demo.
So, Will, I see we got the map of the world here. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on here?
Right, absolutely. So first off, everybody loves maps. So anything we do that's on the network, we've got to include a map. Like I said before, we're taking that information and we're trying to provide some visibility, some clarity, and some context around what it means. So in this particular view, what we're seeing is we're looking at the F5, the data center firewall traffic, as it's where it's coming from. So we want to see who are those addresses that are making requests back into the network. We're plotting that back up here to a nice geo on a Google map, so you can actually start to get some intelligence around geography and some of that pertaining information. Now the cool thing here is that this is all coming off of raw data, right? It's that log data. So as you can see, I get these nice, meaningful charts. I can pivot these around tables if I want to start to look at that. But I can also go in and get back to that raw log data that drove this in the first place. So you can see very gracefully I'm able to go back into now, this is the LTM firewall data that's actually driving that. And I can do a number of things here from an investigative or an analytics standpoint. I may want to filter certain data on a certain country code, for instance. I can do that here. I can look at a city. So let's look at all the traffic that's originating in New York for the sake of the show.
So I also noticed that there are a big red ball out there on the West Coast too. Are those some of them nasties trying to get through and steal data?
That's probably, unfortunately, my engineers hitting my demo site and hammering away at it so we can get some rich data here. But those are definitely the kind of things that we can start to see. In most interesting contexts, again, when you start to get those big attacks, right, we can start to see anomalies and activity as it's happening. Now, geo is one part of it. There's a whole set of information that we have around availability, for instance. You got to love the resolution on this trade show monitor, but here we're able to see the different members, how they're available, what their uptime or downtime may have been. As we get back into the firewall, I can start to look at analysis around traffic. We've got analysis around web analytics becoming very important with our users, not wanting to go out and farm information out of all these web servers. Let me pull that access info out of the big IP. So we've done quite a bit of work over the last few months to bring more content into this LTM solution, and we've got quite a bit more planned. So stay tuned for more information.
And so if a customer has big IP APM, big IP ASM, the data center firewall solution. Now granted, this is particular to the LTM traffic. It's easy for them to navigate and find the data from their other big IP solutions, right?
Absolutely. So we have three kind of discrete, what we call apps or reporting packs really, that sit on top of Splunk for F5. So this is the Splunk for F5 networks, basically encompasses everything coming out of the LTM, which includes the data center firewall, some of the web access reporting we can do. But we also have, you can see in the corner here, Splunk for F5 security and Splunk for F5 access, which cover the ASM, the PSM, and the APM and FirePass products respectively. So really, from a single pane of glass, you can pivot between these different views, and then of course, being Splunk, you can start to combine. So in the cases that you want to see the ASM context along with your traffic, along with the data center firewall, it's easy to take these pieces and put them together.
This is great stuff, Will. And so a great way to get additional context and data out of your big IP devices with Splunk. So how can we find you online, Will? Find Splunk, I should say.
Really simple, Splunk.com. We have a free download, very easy to get started. From there, you can browse our app section called Splunk Base. You can pull down the F5 integrations there, get those reporting packs. We also have a lot of content on Dev Central regarding Splunk. So if you just search for Splunk on Dev Central, all kinds of good stuff in there as well.
And how can people follow you guys on Twitter?
We are at Splunk, and at Splunk Dev is a new initiative that we just launched for developers that want to start using Splunk as that next generation data store. So none of the UI, but really going over the APIs and the SDKs. Lots of really exciting stuff happening this year.
So a longtime partner, we were chatting earlier, wondering when the partnership started. We thought right around 2007-ish, right?
Yeah, I think, man, I'm trying to think of how many countries I've been to with F5. It's just been a crazy ride. But again, you guys are one of the vendors that we just love working with because it's all about context and data. Users can really achieve anything they want. They need a place to put that, and that's just a match made in heaven, in my opinion. So.
Thanks a lot for the demo, Will. Always great talking with you.
Thank you, guys.
And so for Will with Splunk, I'm Peter Silva with F5 Networks. Thanks for watching.